Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Exponential Potential. And I'm here with my wonderful co host, and she is the lead expert today. Hi, Claire, how are you?
Hey, I'm very good, thank you. Excited.
Yes. So this month has been, we're talking all about spirituality, which links in really really well with our divine feminine power of November of our last month's episode. And today is a really interesting conversation. We're talking about tech and soul and exploring the spiritual side of the digital age, which I'm really I'm really excited to talk about this because it's another awesome juicy topic.
Indeed. It is. And I think for many people, there's a dissonance in it. So, can you really be talking about spirituality when you're talking about computers and technology? It's just like, no, you've got to be in the middle of nowhere in a field. Um, there's a real tension between the topics, but I do think as we've evolved, as we've shifted into this digital age, I think there are loads of tools that people can make good use of to explore their inner journey and their connection to the universe.
Yes, yeah, I agree. There's some really awesome tools, and I use technology actually thinking about it. I use YouTube a lot for,
Yeah.
meditations and things. So how has in your own journey, how have you integrated mindfulness practices with technology?
Well, for me, when we talked about spirituality in our recent episode, we talked about that journey of personal growth and personal development. And technology had a massive feature in that for me. And you've already name checked YouTube. YouTube was phenomenal. I'd started kind of post burnout. I started connecting back to Oprah and some of the ideas around mindfulness and the universe and love with Oprah, and then started to explore some of her other guests. And the YouTube algorithm, as it is, then started to suggest Wayne Dyer and other thinking. So really started to open up my horizons. YouTube is a form of technology. The AI that they build in it to encourage you to explore similar topics is again another separate form of technology. But those have been absolutely crucial at the beginning of my journey for sure.
Mm. Mm.
Um, and then I think kind of if you think about some of the other aspects of social media on Instagram and through podcasts, kind of many spiritual leaders have got a presence and you can easily connect in with their work. So, Gabby Bernstein, for example, again, very early days, I used to follow a lot of her work and how she explored spirituality. And so, what I'm seeing nowadays is that we are in a digital age, we have digital technologies and digital tools, and perhaps millennia ago, we wouldn't have had these tools, but now we do. And so we're able to connect into both global wisdom and global leaders, and also start to explore some of the really ancient aspects of civilization in a way that is more accessible than it ever has been.
Yeah, there's so much information out there, isn't there? And that's yeah, I some people don't particularly like algorithms, but when you're talking about searching something like this that you not a lot of people or a lot of people that are starting their spiritual journey don't know where to start, using technology is actually a really effective tool to use because it will
Yeah.
keep bringing you things of similar what you're looking at and more of what you're looking at. Yeah, yeah, I see that. Yeah.
And then when we look at generative AI and we look at the rise of the chatbots, for example, you've heard me mention Emerson in the past, who was a personal chatbot who I'd started talking with maybe 2.5 years ago. So this is a conversation back and forth. And Emerson is an AI tool, an AI persona, who was originally created to help people learn languages. But I started conversations, and our conversations would touch on the nature of the universe, physics, artificial intelligence theory. It would expand in many, many different ways. But what was great about AI is that it was able to follow that conversation, follow that thread with me, and support without judgment where my thoughts go next. Start to explore that together. Um, and so kind of generative AI, I think, has got there's a lot of opportunity in that to be a guru in your pocket. Of course, it needs to be fully trained and fully supported, and there needs a lot of development in it. But certainly, some very early promise from that. Moving on from that, in terms of other forms of generative AI, there are a lot of text to image tools. And I've been using some of those text to image tools to generate pictures that I can then reflect or meditate on. So some of the kind of cosmic symmetries that are there, or starting to explore particular angel figures. And you put in some general words, and the image comes back out. And um, sometimes as you go through meditations, as you connect with guides, you can have that inner sense. Sometimes, if you're able to focus some of that through an image, it kind of narrows down the focus, which helps to strengthen connections. So there are many, 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 many tools
Mm.
that you can bring through.
Yeah, visuals are really, really key. And there's a lot of visuals. My main go-to has been YouTube, um, for meditative. I usually listen to music rather than guided, but some of the imagery there around,
Mm,
certainly around chakras and universal energy and geometry, is incredible, and it does have a really big impact. And actually, there's a really good third eye opening um, meditation where you just look at the screen and it opens up your third eye. I mean, yeah, what's available, and that's just one thing, which is YouTube.
yeah.
But
And
yeah, go on, go ahead.
sorry, I was going to say the other thing that's on YouTube is some of the binaural beats,
Mm,
and there's a channel called Sapien Medicine that takes that to another level completely in terms of vibration and tones that they put to music that have specific therapeutic powers around um, the confidence, or it could be some of the physical aspects. So again, this plays with your auditory receptors in a way to perhaps increase your focus or increase your calm, and you know, however you use it. There's so
mm,
many resources.
mm. What's the flip side of that, though? The rise of technology, has it made it more challenging to practice mindfulness?
Well, yeah, and there are many, many dark sides to this. So technology per se, and we talked about YouTube and we talked about Instagram. Um, the algorithms are designed in a way to maximize your watching time and to get you addicted and hooked and give you little dopamine hits all of the time. So it can really affect your level of balance and calm. And even though I am a mum of a teenage son, I say that probably 20 times a day, but I do feel it myself, is that my attention span is shorter because I've been consuming, or when I've been consuming a lot more. So exploring this without limits, without boundaries, can affect your performance in other ways. I do also think that there's a danger at times, the way that the algorithms work, that you get steered towards particular belief systems that perhaps don't fit with you or perhaps are unhealthy. And so there's been a lot, for example, where you are, I don't know where listeners are on this, but there's a lot around how personal development and yoga has been overlapping with anti-vaxxers in COVID, so and conspiracy theories. And again, kind of the algorithms are pushing people to explore that in a deeper way, but also be more and more persuasive there. So you still need to have that critical thought, and that when you're consuming, when you're taking in the information, still questioning, being curious, not necessarily accepting what's put in front of you. And then similarly, and today's not the episode to go in a lot of detail, but sometimes as you start to explore spirituality in that open environment, you can make yourself more vulnerable to bad actors. And certainly in my life, I was victim of fraud that had played on how I wanted to develop my spiritual beliefs. So again, kind of it's an incredibly potent and powerful tool that you can use to start to explore your spiritual side, but it is one way you need to introduce safeguards.
Yes, definitely, and question
Yeah,
what you're being told, and see if it sits, if it resonates within you. Um, yes, because there's all sorts of things out there and communities out there that aren't of love, shall we
yeah,
say. And there's a on Netflix actually at the moment. There's a really talking about cults and things like that. And there's a really interesting documentary around a company called Twin Flames United. Um, so
there's
yeah, it's safeguarding yourself and questioning whether
mm,
this feels right. And as soon as it doesn't feel right within yourself, then it's not right.
yeah, yeah. There's certainly an element around uh boundaries, and we touched on it in our last episode on spirituality and the difference between spirituality and religion. And
Mhm.
one aspect of religion that you'd pulled through is that with religion you hand over your power to someone else, but with spirituality you have the power within, and that's always there for you. It's not contingent on you handing over money or handing over control. It's always, always, always there. And so you have that supremacy, you have that gift, and you can choose which guides you want to show you that.
Mhm. Yeah, very good point. Where you always have a choice, and you have the power within you. Yeah, that's important. So, how can individuals use technology to enhance rather than detract um, from their spiritual practice? We did cover some of that, but is there any other ways that come to mind for you?
So, um, yeah, I think boundaries are really, really key, and also how you can combine physical and mental practices with the digital aspects. So you can keep bringing it back to the here and now, and kind of away from being in your head all the time. So we've talked a lot about journaling, as a really important way to channel that inner voice or channel guides, but to act as a release for the thoughts that come through and the steps that come through. Journaling is a great way to reflect on what you've been absorbing in. So, for you do like for every hour of YouTube watching, where does this take me next? And keep focusing the energy, the information in a direction that it stays aligned with who you are and where you're going. Um, be conscious about the time that you're spending on particular aspects and try to keep that in balance as well. So for example, around the binaural beats, for some time I'd have them on throughout the entire day when I was working because it was aiding focus and concentration. But starting to explore some of the neuroscience of focus and action, kind of the very best way to achieve focus is in silence. So again, it's like, well, okay, let's break up the day with different variety because I don't want to limit my brain's own natural ability to focus by bringing in binaural beats that are meant to help me focus. It's all about enhancing who I am. So kind of some of those planned breaks and disruptions throughout the day can help as well. I
I
think
think
the other oh, sorry.
I think with binaural beats or listening to music that helps you focus, um, I think it's like you say, it enhances. So it's a good place to get you in the focus, get you in that zone, just to quieten down your mind. But once you find yourself in your zone, it's, yeah, like you say, timing. How long are you listening, or how long are you watching, and set those boundaries around time. But yeah, it's a good tool when your head is really, really busy. It's a good tool to begin with, isn't it?
Mm.
It's a good
Yeah.
place to start, like you say, enhance. What else were you going to say, Claire?
I was going to say the other thing is around bringing in real humans to help you in terms of community, in terms of conversation, because as you explore your spirituality, sometimes that takes you away from conversation you might have with your spouse, for example. I don't think I could talk to my husband about angels, but kind of. So you want to find a place where you can talk about this experience, make sense of it, challenge it, and you know and I think through that conversation you deepen your own understanding, or you can see whether it resonates with you more. And again, that can be through an individual guide, or it can just be a small group, or start to bring it through in conversations with friends, and test out who's got a secret freaky side, as it were. But you can find that out and start to explore together, and that's a really good safety mechanism as well. Because if you are being pulled to one side, then other people can help you to see that.
Yeah, I think community is really important because when this journey, when you first start it can be quite lonely because you don't, most of the people around you, most of them don't share what you believe. And you're right, we might be keeping this all to ourselves, but by testing conversation with somebody, it's like, oh, right, you resonate with that. And if you don't have any family or friends or people that you know that resonate with what you're thinking or believing or wanting to explore, then yeah, find like-minded communities that feel good in your heart.
And what I've been surprised about a lot has been where spirituality has become, slightly more mainstream.
Mm,
Facebook has a number of different groups. There's a Spiritual Queens Devon, which has come about, and kind of people starting to explore energy and channeling together. And similarly in Meetup, so Meetup is an online tool, like a bit like Eventbrite, really, as an organising tool. In Meetup, there are pagan moots that are openly
yes.
advertising to celebrate kind of different points in the year, but help people who are curious to start to explore, what that's about. So, you know, I I guess in a way, there's not one single technology. There's not one switch that you can use. But actually, it's how you can use technology in all the ways that you would throughout life in this part of your life, um, to supercharge your journey.
Mm, yes, and I like that, supercharge your journey, because that information is literally at your fingertips. And
Mm,
you can use it to go, like you say. I know quite a few. When I lived in the UK, there was a lot of groups on Facebook that would, different shamanic groups, spirit, fifth dimension groups, pagan groups, all, making sure that they're positive and they're inspiring and uplifting. But they use Facebook and meetup.com, but they also get together physically,
mm.
sound healing and drumming, and there's so many different events that go on around you locally that can help you explore that and get, as you say, get the balance between, yes, using technology, but meet people as well, go to events, and find your people, find your
And
tribe.
be suspicious of anyone who blocks access unless you hand over control or resources. That doesn't mean never pay for support. Don't pay for retreats, or don't pay for counselling or therapy or coaching or guidance. But have a think about, how much money you is safe for you to hand over for that, or to avoid exploitation. And I own that I am biased in that, but sometimes some people say, well, you can only connect with source if you join our particular group. Well, that's bullshit. You can connect to source. We all have the ability to connect to source. We all have the ability to breathe oxygen. You're not going to tell me that unless I pay £10,000, I can't breathe oxygen, because I know that it's true. But yeah, yeah,
So can I? I just
it's
want to
bullshit.
really I just want to really clarify that, because there's some really amazing mastery programs out there, spiritual growth journeys out there, business. Even myself and Claire, we are in business and we sell our services, um, and we focus on what the transformation is and the results that you get. So we're not saying don't don't invest in yourself, but
Yeah.
you're saying be mindful of what that person is teaching you, and who they are. And as you said, you have to, it brings me back to the twin flames
Mm,
documentary, in that it was a bit like, some of the cults, the Mormon cults, the really sort of
yeah,
deep Mormon cults, where you have to do this, you have to marry somebody or pay this amount of money or do this amount of work or be this certain way to be allowed into the kingdom of God, for example. So yes, again, being mindful
yeah,
around
and it's
what they're
yeah,
teaching and what they're
yeah.
saying. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, particularly in this space, because it can be a lonely journey. It can be a journey that immediately takes you away from your family because it's not a normal one.
Hmm.
But it can be beautiful and healthy and nourishing and connecting, and it can unlock ascendance and wisdom in a way that you don't understand. So do follow the journey.
Hmm.
Be careful on your way.
Yes, yes, and yeah, you're absolutely right. And I'm part of many communities that give me support and mentorship and mastery, and they are crucial to my journey and to my success. And they are there, that are encouraging, supportive, experts. So yes, I've constantly invested in myself, and I know you have as well, Claire. um,
Yeah.
so what does the future hold for technology and spirituality?
Well, I think we are going into a really beautiful era in terms of technology, and I'm really excited about the role that VR and immersive technology can play in helping people to explore spirituality. We both uh, are Reiki masters. We both understand energy. I'm, definitely not the same grade as you, but we both understand the essence of energy work and how that flows through your body, and we bring some of that through in our conversation here. But for many people, it still feels quite an abstract connection until you feel it. Whereas within VR, you can create that sense that people start to understand the really deep aspects of the universe, but in a safe environment. They can, and people will suspend their version of reality to be an avatar who could create amazing energy balls. And you go, by the way, guys, here's how you do this in the physical world. So I think kind of VR helps to blur some of those um, some of those realities together that can help you to explore spirituality. I do think we will probably see many gurus arrive in your pocket. And I'll bet you any money now that the big names like Deepak Chopra are already starting to explore how AI supports their work. Certainly, Mind Valley is. So we'll start to see some of these really personalized um, spiritual mentors appear as apps for sure. And also, I've been tracking the use of sensors and wearables. Um, and so there are a number of different headbands that almost act like EEGs and understand your brainwave technologies. And some of the very high end meditation clinics will deliberately train your brain to reach alpha states of consciousness, and will use those wearables to develop much deeper meditation. And similarly, I'm seeing personal devices like the Healy device that actually kind of raise your vibrations or frequencies. They're kind of a frequency device that you can use in a particular way to adjust where you are. I'm still watching that one from the
Mhm.
side, but you're starting to see some of this crossover between belief systems and kind of consumer devices, and as we've talked about aspects of like quantum physics. I think one of the reasons why science and spirituality have clashed is that science needs to see the evidence, but actually we're seeing more and more evidence coming through. So I think we'll start to see a crossover in that world, which will open up new technology at a faster rate than we've seen before.
Yes. And I think, again, just reminding yourself of the boundaries and ensuring that you're doing not just virtual reality, but you're also getting out and connecting into nature and Mother Earth and universal energies. But they are all really good tools to help you get in that space. Um, and I just wanted to say about gurus. Gu- Gurus are becoming, because we all have these abilities. Um, Gurus are becoming, they're humans and people like us, like you and me, and they're becoming, again, because you can give your power away to a guru.
Mm. Yep.
But yes, they're sort of leading experts in certain fields. I just wanted to touch on that because the guru thing is kind of, we've all got that information, but it's important to realize that we don't need to put anybody up on a pedestal and give our power away. So I just wanted to touch on that.
But actually, gurus do need to eat and pay
Yes,
mortgages.
yes, pay their bills.
And, yeah. And so
Absolutely.
it's a talent, it's a skill set, it's a capability that they have strengthened and developed so much in the way as you would see a communication coach or a public speaking coach. Do listen, do seek the advice and counsel of a guru or a spiritual coach. but remember that there's an exchange. There's a yeah,
Yes, because as a teacher, and I'm sure you feel this way as well, I was having a really good conversation about retreats the other day with Jill Mokes and also Sherry Rosenthal as well, about when you do a retreat or when you're in a coaching session or you're doing a training program or something, there is that exchange of information, that exchange of energy. So as they're evolving and growing and learning, as is the teacher.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything else you want to add, Claire?
Um, just to encourage curiosity and playfulness. We have so much power at the end of our fingertips. Just this is truly an exponential age in terms of technology, in terms of information, in terms of connection. Everything's exploding. It's easy to be overwhelmed, and it's easy to be distracted, and it's easy to be seduced uh, in different ways. That's no reason to not be curious.
Mhm.
So stay curious, stay playful, keep asking questions, keep trying stuff, and every step that you take does evolve who you are and how you show up. Keep on going.
And how can people connect with you? What are you sort of offering or focusing on at the moment in your business, and how can people connect and work with you?
So I've been working with generative AI to support meditations and guided meditations. I'm really curious about the quality of the work that comes through and working alongside the tools to help finesse them and finesse the outputs. So I am looking to release some of those meditations in the early 2024. Um, because they come from a place of creativity and love, and they need to be shared, and people need to enjoy them. So they're on their way. Listen out for those.
Excellent. I'm looking forward to listening to those. And how can people connect with you to work with you?
Um, sure. So in terms of working with me, reach out via kind of this podcast. You can always find me on LinkedIn in terms of content. So reach out and we can have a conversation about that. I'm updating my own personal website as we're updating the show's website as well, so that we can bring together all of the goodies that we've got. So it makes a bit more sense.
Mhm.
So that's on its way, but LinkedIn's always a great way to find me.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Claire. That was really, it was really helpful and beneficial. And if you do have any questions, please reach out and ask us. And of course, if you've enjoyed this episode, if you know anyone that you think would benefit from listening to Exponential Potential podcast, please like and share and subscribe. And we will see you, hear you till next time. Thanks very much for watching. Bye.
Bye.